Hello everyone! Greetings dear Aristobats, fellow immortals and mortals yet to be claimed by the night. Welcome to this lady's humble abode. It is the day! Finally! We're getting to Isolde's side story. Oh, I'm so glad I made it. I was so stressed. So stressed. Like, I was losing days. They shouldn't give side stories that small of a deadline. I can't get to everything. Like, I want to make so many different videos and I end up being hostage to reverse. Like, I love the game, don't get me wrong, but I want to do other things, and when the deadline is this short, like, I have to rush. But hey, I made it, I'm here to deliver, and you're going to see this from me. And there's a lot we're going to talk about because this patch as a whole has a lot of depth. So yeah, let's see what more can we learn about Isolde that we couldn't through the main story. Hi there, how's everybody doing? So, before we get to today's game, I'd like to take a moment to give a little thanks to somebody, because last week I got my first coffee donation and I'm so excited. And I did leave my thanks on my community tab, but I wanted to do it on a video as well. So whoever you are, if you're watching, if you're out there, thank you so much for your donation. I really appreciate it. I don't know if you would like me to mention your username or you would like to keep it private, but I just thought it's only right that I thanked you in video form as well. I hope that's okay with you, by the way. Back to the game. Gotta say, I'm really hoping this is a backstory and not like Ezra's situation, that we get to see things that happened after the older games. Yeah, let's get into it. Part 1. Dog Duel. Sad news indeed. Most unfortunate and disappointing news. Stamping his feet in anger, the gentleman lets out a wail of frustration.
I'm not sure that.
They cancelled her new show just like that? I've been waiting for it all season. What else could be done? Surely you wouldn't expect her to sing after what happened? Oh, dang. It's not the past. It's the now. Why? I wanted to know, because she told us so many things while in Kakania's place, and I wanted to see her past. It would have been so interesting. Anyway. Have some compassion for her, will you? Fate has dealt her a cruel hand in life. Although this lady immediately volleys criticism, there is nothing accusatory in the softness of her tone.
I think that...
Vienna has lost its saw, at least for this season. Another man joins the conversation, also terribly hit by the news. His eyes are as dim and cold as two lifeless cobblestones at the bottom of the river. He walks at the rear of the crowd with heavy footsteps. I saw it with my own eyes, the entire thing. She left the Vienna State Opera in the afternoon. She must have planned to take a walk in Wales Dreher Park, as she always does on Thursday afternoons. Why do you know that? Stalker match? On that day, her dark curly hair cascaded over her shoulders and her face was pale as porcelain. She's always pale. She was in a lavender dress with a soft wool shawl around her arms. She looked pretty and fragile, like a doll made of glass.
Which means...
Did you see her? Yes, I saw her faint. She seems perfectly fine when she took leave of the theatre manager, but after a few steps she started shaking. She whimpered and scratched her pretty face. Her usual heavenly voice became the howling cry of a mad cat. He murmurs with a dark heat in his tone. A light of sinister delight flickers in his eyes. A servant tried to stop her, but it was too late. She ran off, tripped over her dress, and fell down the Albertina stairs. They helped her up, but by then she'd already fainted. Oh, is this after her brother died? Because if she hit her head, things are different. It changes a few things. For me.
That's surprising.
God in heaven, poor thing. His audience responds with gasps and sobs. It breaks one's heart to see such a thing. Soon her physician came. He'd been by her side all day. It was only in the brief moment in which that horrid affair occurred that he was away attending to another matter. Did he take her to the hospital? How is she now? Oh heavens, this is terribly sad. Most unfortunate for a talented lady as her. She's so delicate. Even a strong gust of wind would whisk her off her feet. And now she has to come in terms with that painful fact, yeah, it's definitely her brother, that her dear child has been cruelly taken from her. What? Oh wait, we aren't talking about Isolde here. I think we're talking about her mama. Oh, thank goodness, it's a past story. The lady whips open her mother of pearl fan to hide the tears that are now streaming down her face. Mother of pearl fan? I will have to look it up. It sounds cute. I realize it's a fan to fan your face, like to give yourself some air, but yeah. Thank goodness she still has Theophil. Still, it does little to ease a mother's pain. She continues to mutter to herself. Though her cheeks are still wet with the tears of compassion, there is a quiet joy in her heart as she attracts the others' gaze. None of us would ever have the courage to face such tragedy. Having to witness her own child taken by death at the seance 3 days ago must have destroyed her. We're all there, you know. Lily Marlene, Fiona and I, that poor girl, such a lovely little thing. Oh, I know, this is the child that Isolde mentioned in Kakania's office that died, that she had a sibling that died. I didn't know if she meant that or if she was confused, but I guess she really did lose a child. She had a sister that she lost.
So?
Little Trista, she was only 3 years old. Her rosy cheeks turned greyish blue within seconds, her pale lips were stained with red blood, and 2 golden tears welled in the empty eyes that ran down her cheeks. She died in a moment, just like that. But that sweet song didn't fade away. For the whole night it was trapped in her throat, like a little songbird captive in a cage. What do you mean? Were you watching the kid die while singing? And nobody did anything to stop her because she was possessed by the spirits? What is wrong with people in this place? It wasn't until morning that we mustered enough strength to touch her. She was still soft, as if she were only sleeping. She gently flutters her fan as she reveals more and more details to the crowd. They listen in breathless surprise.
I don't know.
I didn't know that. Fine, I admit it. I was too harsh on her. No one would be able to sing on stage in the wake of such misfortune.
I think that...
She should rest. She must be devastated, poor thing, losing her child like that. The gentleman takes out his silk handkerchief and dabs at the corner of his moistened eyes. Why use moistened? I think everybody hates that word. I didn't have an issue with that word until I followed a specific gaming YouTuber that used to use this word a lot in a negative sense in his jokes, and now it disgusts me too. But yeah, I don't think I've ever seen this word next to the word eyes. Anyway, this is a situation in which sympathy is the only appropriate response. But a voice from the other side of the crowd breaks the sad silence.
No way.
No, she didn't cancel the performance to mourn her daughter. To be fair, I wouldn't think so either. Based on what we heard, she probably isn't that, sad. Not sad about losing a child, sadder about the fact she lost a great actress, I'm guessing. Because their reputation seemed to be more important to them than their own children. At least that's what I understood from the main story, that is. Did you forget? She showed up at the rehearsals after her daughter's death. I saw her just yesterday. His face reddens with frustration at these speculations. The doctor came to me that night with a dissected rabbit in his palms. A quick look made it very clear. His eyes are red and bulging, just like the pair of distended ovaries he saw inside the rabbit. She is with child again, 2 months into her pregnancy, in fact. The announcement of a new child is just 3 days after her daughter's tragic death. Ooh. The change in the rabbit's ovaries told us everything. I wish I could show you, good people, for it is evidence most irrefutable. It is true that in the past they used to study animal intestines for divination, and not just those, like other organs as well, but like Evangeline must rest. No matter how much she loves the stage and her audience, she has no choice. That was her first appearance in Vienna. A fanatic admirer bribed her mother's doctor, subsequently discovering her existence through a fluffy and totally bloody pregnancy test. a fluffy pregnancy test? Also, bribe the mother's doctor to know what happened to her? Oh my goodness. Perhaps soon this rabbit test will become a mainstream method of determining pregnancy. Oh, never mind. They didn't use a rabbit for divination. What in the world? Who knows what will happen in this world of turmoil? Someone approaches from behind, the figure of a child. Favored by the god of theater, this child is a star, even from before birth. In the many years that followed, before she made her debut, people talked of her as a girl who arrived upon the wings of death.
Is that so?
But is she really an opera singer? The voice pauses, awaiting an answer. Look at her. Isolde, my lovely little sister. She's a new star of Vienna, gaining both fame and fortune in the theatre. As a singer, her name has surpassed that of our mother, who is now only remembered as the perpetrator of that appalling crime. But my sister has never performed in a play, not even once. She's there, but she also isn't. She's many people, including me, my voice in her throat, my smile on her face. First of all, beautiful. The design of baby Isolde, beautiful. Look at her. She's beauty, she's grace, she will haunt your eyes while you sleep. Anyway, so Isolde is mainly haunted by her sister, but she says she's many people, including me. So one of the things that I can think of that is based on the idea of souls, I don't remember where I read it or on which theory it is based, but there is this theory that when somebody dies, their soul transfers to a child getting born in that moment someplace else. So if we're to take this as an example, I mean, the moment her sister died, perhaps her soul transferred into Isolde as a fetus. But she'd been in her mother's belly for 3 months already, so I'm guessing she just haunted her. Upon the stage, many spirits wander. There are men's voices, women's voices, even children's. You can find them all. Different songs, different stories, but they aren't hers. Yes, rather innovative, isn't it, to channel spirits in an operatic performance? Emotions she has never felt gleam in her eyes and flow from her mouth. She holds the spirits as they gently fall upon her, just as she is held by the stage.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, silly goose. My little sister was never an actress. She's but a stage upon a stage, a pretty glass vessel. Well, apparently she was 3 years old. Like, how much of an actress do you expect her to be? But it's so up that from such a young age her parents put her and probably their other children into this place of dealing with spirits and learning to let them possess them so that they can act. Yeah. A little hand softly touches your shoulder and the other points into the darkness. Now, look over there. A door? Why is there a door? How strange. Is this getting to Alice in Wonderland? Is it? Am I right? Did I guess what you were thinking? The figure burst into delighted laughter. We all know what a stage looks like. There are no walls, but there are doors.
No.
No, not the entrance doors to the theater. I'm talking about the doors behind wings. The hidden ones that lead backstage. Oh, we did see... No, was it wings? We saw a peculiar symbol while we're under the stage in the main story, but I forget if the shape was wings or not. The hand raps on the door. This is the first door. A narrow doggy door sitting an inch above the floor, painted in a calming blue. Who uses it, I wonder? Could it be a border terrier? At a well-proportioned 6 kilograms, it would fit through the door perfectly. Would be rather pleasant to keep around. A little angel in the home, a loyal and energetic friend, whose little paws softly tap across the marble floor.
No.
But no, the door isn't made for a little Scottish hill-dweller. Their feet get muddy, their fur dirty, and they have the pitiful little faces of a beggar. No, they don't fit in at all in the spotless home. Those who live here must be presentable and praiseworthy, with manners learned from the most esteemed teachers. The terriers sprint past you as they chase one another, a flurry of wind rushing by your left calf. Something taller, heavier, and calmer emerges from the dark. A warm breath settles on the skin of your right calf. Oh, very good. A Leonberger. I hope I pronounced this correctly. They were the stalwart friends of our Honorable Sisi, the Empress of Austria. People were once madly in love with them. It is a soft black and brown coat, a posture reminiscent of a lion, and an intelligent mind and a kind heart. Most importantly, this is an expensive breed. It's quite an excellent reflection of its owner's wealth and refined taste. It weighs 115 pounds, a good boy with a sturdy build. It's 28 inches, said Withers, and a trustworthy protector of your life and children. The voice disappears again, along with a warm breath. The majestic dog raises its 100-pound body and dissolves into the shadows.
What a pity.
But it's much too big to fit through this door. No, this can't be it. The girl lets out a regretful sigh, followed by a bracing breath. Her face is barely visible in the dark, but somehow you know she's smiling. You see, this is my door. I fit through it perfectly. It wasn't always exclusively mine. There were other people who were of the right size and met the other conditions for its use. But time is cruel. He turned Theophil and Isolde into adults, taking them out of their little 5-year-old bodies and replacing them with new ones with bigger hands and feet. Now, I alone can pass through this little door. Oh, this is the dead girl! It's not Isolde. She doesn't look 3, I'm sorry. She looks 7, 8, maybe 10? Not 3. Every Dietersdorf's child knows how to use this door. Just lower your head, bend down, and crawl through it.
Yes, that's right.
Since I'm the only one using it these days, I have a new name for it. The Door of Trista, the Forgotten. Something tells me that this kid was supposed to be sacrificed. More specifically, her name, Trista. It means sorrow in Latin, right? The little hands lying on your shoulders give a gentle push. The doggy door squeaks open. It is much easier to pass through than you had imagined. Hush, my baby, dry your tears. The cradle's safe and warm. Oh, she looks so pretty. Evangeline is here, the source of the sweet humming. Our mama. We all once lived inside her. She always rocked this cradle with her left hand. It's the same one that Theophil, I, and our little sister Isolde all used. She's singing her lullaby. But the performance is rather clumsy. It's a new song, a birth gift to Isolde from the playwright. He wrote one for each of us when we were born. She's asleep. Thank goodness. She cries so much, always trembling as if something's frightened her. The mother sighs as she sits by the bed. Mother said I was the same when I was a baby. Perhaps it's a family trait passed down from girl to girl. I'm seeing flickers of light on the screen and I don't know if it's normal for the game or if it's my PC not being able to handle it. She thinks to herself, running her fingers along the edge of the cradle. As soon as the word curse comes to mind, she feels the tip of her fingers touch something, a dent in the wood left there by her second child.
No, that's not true.
No, Trista didn't like to cry. She giggled a lot, even looking at the empty ceiling or the lampstand. She was never frightened. Nothing could scare her. She'd cackle at anything as if they were jesters, and she the queen. She still remembered me, even then. She's a good mama. Oh, well, I guess I misjudged her. Perhaps she did care about her kids, perhaps it was the father that was a prick. Trista holds her mother from behind, nestling her head in the crook of her mother's neck. She was immature in the past. She wouldn't have taken me to the seance, maybe the medium had she known better. But she learned her lesson, truly. After my death, she never sang my lullaby again. As I was lowered into my little grave, that song buried itself in her throat. But was that enough? Trista reaches out an arm and gently strokes the cheek of a baby in the cradle. The cold chill of her hand wakes her. It was only a song. Whimpers anyway. I'm not going to whimper for you guys, I'm sorry. Ah, Isolde, you stupid little girl. Always crying. My, she's shaking again. Her face is so cold. However you look at it, my failure laid the groundwork of Isolde's success.
What do you think?
Perhaps you don't think she's successful, but at least she didn't turn into a little lump of dead meat at the age of 3. For Dita's Stoff daughter, that's quite an achievement. I'm very fond of my little sister. I love her. I sang her the buried lullaby, my lullaby. I lay beside her on those crying nights and trembling mornings. I crawled with her, and I walked with her. Sometimes I think about how I could have grown up as she did. What a pity that I'm 6 feet under the earth while she walks upon it. She soon turned 3, but the seance didn't happen. As I have told you, my mother, my Evangeline, had learned her lesson. She knew better by then. She continued to put off my little sister's first seance for many years. She was 6 by the time she was led into the candlelight. This is... Tell us, child, what do you see? The candlelight flickers in the dark room. The lady asking the question leans forward in eagerness, the light reflected in her eyes. Yeah, they're the same. The same model. Speak, good child. The spirit has come to us. It has come to you. I need an answer. I've waited so long for this, child. I've heard all about your gifts. She has waited 3 years. Much too long for someone whose insides twist with anxiety over the future. Isolde takes a deep breath, letting it out slowly. Is she all right? She's shaken. Evangeline never shook like this. She looks just like her sister did. What has she called forth? What's happening? Does my future hold so dreadful a spirit? I just wanted to know where I'd be in a few years. Good Lord, she's bleeding. Isolde trembles, her back stiff, her hands tightly pressed against the chest, move down to her stomach and eventually stop at her lower abdomen. She whimpers in agony, her knees quiver until she can stand no longer and collapses on the floor. The candlelight, it's flickering, she did it! I see. Her pale arm writhes under her sleeve like a thin white snake. It lifts its head, its red tongue flicking towards the lady. I see you. In a sea of green, horses are neighing, wind is blowing. The wind. Red drips from her nose and down onto her chest, blending into the whirls of dark colors on her dress. The air is filled with a metallic smell of blood. The wind is blowing. Yes, it came in from the window. That's right, it's wind. I see it now. It's the wind. It's the curtains. The curtains! Isolde abruptly lifts her upper body and starts rhythmically slapping her bloody palms against the floor.
Ow!
Ah!
Shoot!
Hell, what's the sound? The windows are thrown open. An icy wind rushes into the room, merely extinguishing the candles. Wind? How? We locked the window.
Oh,
Something is
it's
wrong.
terrifying.
She's getting out of control. Isolde! Everyone leaps to their feet, scrambling to search the door first. Amidst the chaos, the young girl stands up. Isolde, stay calm, Isolde! To her, the calls of her mother sound like echoes from a faraway place. Isolde simply drops her head and gently nibbles at her nails. Close the window. She mumbles, her bloody lips opening and closing gently. Then they open wide. She cackles with delight before screaming a voice that is not entirely her own.
Close the window! Close the window! Close the window!
Damn! After that, my little sister passed out. Her first seance ended in disarray. People were scared. They didn't believe her to be a capable medium. You would have thought the same had you seen her blood-spattered gown. The successive failures of me and my sister completely shattered the curiosity of the seances. People started to believe that our ability to channel the spirits had become too strong to control, and that the practice was somewhat evil. For some time, the people of Vienna lost all interest in the seances, and consequently, Mama was snubbed. But this didn't last long. The girl offers a gentle smile as she tucks her curly hair behind her ear. You know what I just realized, now that she's smiling? Her face is very much like 37's, so I'm wondering if they have the same artist. Annette Meyer, who spent the rest of her life afraid of the color green because of the prophecy brought forth through my sister, met her end. She died on the street. A frightened horse charged towards her. It was wearing a green saddle blanket on its back and a shining green gem on its forehead. Green. More green. Miss Meyer was utterly terrified. She screamed, and as she dove to the side of the dodge the approaching horse, she stumbled over a step and fell into a roadside bush. A sharp branch pierced her chest. She draws a small circle on her chest, marking the location of the wound. Huh? Eerie, isn't it? All of Vienna was wholly convinced. The prophecy was true. Once again, they gathered around Mama and my little sister, like ants reporting to the Queen. Oh, of course, little Isolde lived. She was depleted by that seance, never having had a strong constitution and having lost so much blood during the ceremony. But slowly, her health was restored. That was a risky night. But accidents are common in Arcanum. The slightest of changes can lead to completely different results. If my little sister were a little younger, or if she were pushed a little harder, she would have seen what I saw. Hundreds of soldiers lying dead on the battlefield, children orphaned before their very eyes, the endless explosions, those golden rabbits. Wait, golden rabbits? The stuff we use for wishes?
Oh, what a pity.
I was this close to having a little sister who's just like me. Part 2, 100 spoons. Glad to have you here, old friend. Dietersdorf gets to his feet and extends a welcoming hand. This is the beginning of an amicable conversation. His friend strides up to him and shakes his hand. Truth be told, I've considered many people for this job. Many. But none suits the position better than you. You're being modest, my friend. I'd thought about getting her a governess. Governesses may well raise ordinary ladies, but my little girl is anything but. I'll settle for nothing but the very best for her.
Isolde, my child.
She must be virtuous, pure of thought, elegant, and compliant. Dude, this whole idea of having a little girl speak like man is so terrifying. But you know what? They're doing a good job because it's supposed to be horror. This has horror element to it as a story, so it's good. But it surprises me that they actually allowed themselves to go this creepy. She must be clever but guileless, talented yet modest, and dignified without pretension. Then she will be a true noble lady. Parents always have grand expectations for the children, don't they? I would say that hits home, but anyway, good parents don't have that grand expectations for the children. But unfortunately, this also exists. The child places a finger horizontally below her nose, mimicking a mustache as she speaks. I'm a decent gentleman with impeccable manners. I never attend an event to which I'm not invited.
Oh.
I have a warm smile, a kind heart, and I never push others away. I have strong morals, respect social etiquette, and always present the best side of myself to others when it's necessary. Dietersdorf regards me as a true noble gentleman. He believes I possess every quality an honorable man should have. Okay, this is a friend. The man maintains an upright posture, clasping his hands behind his back, his shoulders perfectly squared. That's why, despite my eagerness to attend, and the fact that I'm a family friend, I've never asked for, not even hinted at wanting, an invitation to that banquet. I know that asking is pointless. I must be patient. When the time comes, the gate will be open to me. The Didashtov house is guarded by an enormous gate. It's beautiful and stately, made of metal and artistically decorated with the family's motifs. It's quite a feat, really, finding the balance between beauty and security. And my friend Didashtov has found that balance. His only lacking feature, of which he's fully aware, is a patience to educate a child. He worries, you see, about a future in which his son is incompetent and chaotic, and his daughter is crude and reckless. So, he's pinned his hopes to me. The countenance of a middle-aged man faintly emerges on the girl's face. She licks her teeth, an unconscious display of greed. Two figures in dresses emerge from the darkness and approach the gate. With a heavy rumble, it slides open. Oh my. We've been talking all this time, yet we haven't so much as mentioned Isolde. She reaches out a hand and seizes your wrist. A gentle yet irresistible force leads you forward. She should have been at the center of this conversation. So sweet and gentle. A truly thoughtful, beautiful girl. She doesn't look back.
Isolde,
I treated her as my own. Sorry, guys. I told her everything I knew, and she became that perfect young lady Didashtov desired. She was flawless. She met every expectation, from her mother, her father, her brother, the servants, and of course, me.
Mind your posture, child.
Oh, so he's the one who taught her.
Yes, I understand.
Little Isolde's body tenses. She straightens her back further. Very well. Now lift your chin a little. No, not too high. You must avoid any indication of overconfidence. You know what? Maybe she didn't kill him for Kakania. Maybe she killed him because of what we're about to witness.
Exactly.
That's right. Just like that. Very well done, my child. He lays his hands on the back of the chair in front of him and nods to his student on the other side of the hallway. All right, now maintain that posture and walk to me.
Certainly.
Yes,
I will try harder.
Yes, Mr. Carl. It is rather premature for a girl of only 12 to learn to walk in 3-inch heels, but practicing now will avoid any further embarrassment. Well, it depends. Many little girls like to put on their mom's shoes way earlier than that and walk around the house, but she has to do it correctly. So, heads up, shoulders square. All right, now smooth strides. Don't sway, and don't bounce up and down. Breathe in, step forward, waist balance, and again. Don't lean forward. Straighten your back, knees steady. No mistakes. Don't make any mistakes. She stops before the chair, awaiting her teacher's feedback. 6 years have passed. She's shot up since her first seance. Her days of reaching up for door handles are long gone. She stands there, a living example of perfection, all thanks to her education.
Isolde, my child.
Excellent, Isolde. Your walk is almost perfect now. The gentleman smiles and pulls out the chair. Have a seat. Let's move on to our next subject. Time is against us, young lady. We spent an extra 15 minutes working on your posture. I've been told that you have a vocal lesson later. Don't worry, I shall see you again for our literature class after this completion. Tonight we'll be reading about a dinner. There will be a mention of dining etiquette we've practiced before, so there's a good chance for you to review it.
Danke.
Certainly, Mr. Carl. The girl gracefully sits down. A maid hurried over and helps her adjust her chair. A bowl of vegetable soup is sitting before her. See, the 37 similarities came back because now that she said certainly, I was thinking her little voice going, certainly.
My apologies.
May I ask a question, sir? If I remember correctly, I love that face. You told me that we had completed the rules of dining etiquette last week. Did I misunderstand? You did not, my child. The gentleman picks up a silver spoon and places it in her open palm. One by one, he adjusts her fingers until they close around the spoon handle.
I disagree.
But last night, during dinner with your parents, I couldn't help but notice that your hands were shaken. The movements were subtle, almost imperceptible most of the time. You even hid them well while you cut the meat. When it came to the soup, however, the shaking was as clear as daylight. People will certainly notice your weighted cuffs. Yeah. I'm getting mad, just so you know. With a smile on his face, Carl loosens his grip. Little Isolde needs no further instruction. Her countenance is composed, yet her hand is trembling. Her fingertips turn pale as she tightens the grip around the spoon.
Oh.
Of course, such a mistake wouldn't be considered rude, but it would reflect badly on your education. What education? To not let her physical symptoms show, to not show that her body is weak and probably needs proper treatment, I don't know, better food, pills of some sort, I don't know. We've put in great effort and come so far. It would be a great shame to fall short on a small detail.
Yes, I understand.
Yes, Mr. Carl, I'll work hard on it. 100 times. The gentleman paces around the lounge, feeling utterly complacent about his work. I asked her to practice it 100 times. She is the daughter of Evangeline, the greatest opera singer to ever grace the stages of Vienna. She has her eyes, her nose, her cheeks. How could she possibly have a shaky hand while using a spoon? God forbid somebody is weak! God forbid!
I disagree.
What a disgrace. He shakes his head, his dark hair on the back of his head shining with vitality. I could tell she was getting tired towards the end of the session. She'd hidden it well thus far, just as she'd been instructed to do. She's only 12 after all, and she went straight from a 3-hour poise to a posture class to repeatedly raising and lowering the spoon for an hour more. An hour of lowering and raising the spoon? You guys are nuts? But she carried on, just as expected her to. She had a smile on her face, her voice remained soft, her eyes were gentle as a spring breeze. She's a darling little lamb. A brainwashed little lamb ready for slaughter, that's what she is.
Exactly.
All of her efforts paid off. He stops by the window, his gaze fixed upon the garden lawn. Evangeline sits in the sunshine, a white rabbit in her arms. She's stroking it, gently grooming its hair. Her wrists were still tight and shaky the first 20 minutes with practice. It wasn't until the 65th attempt that things started to improve. Her father pays him to torture her. Perhaps she was too tired to shake, perhaps her joints were numb, or perhaps she finally mastered the skill and calmed herself. By the 100th practice, the soup in her spoon was as still as a mirror. I could see the reflection of my face within it. Oh my god. Oh goodness, what's with villainous people and wanting to see their face in spoons? You know what? I think Isolde did a disservice to herself by killing him with stabs. I would have done way more. You torture me like this just because you're getting paid instead of being, you know, a more sensible person and say, I cannot teach your daughter be like this hard. Like you could have done these lessons slower. Like teach her the manners you want to teach her by doing it 10 times a day, not 100. This is inhumane. And the fact that her parents were fine with it, just because they probably went through it themselves, it's sickening to me. I would have done way more to that dude. Carl's eyes flicker back to the table. The soup is now cold and thick, the chair is pulled out, and Isolde is nowhere to be found.
Oh.
I still have no idea why she was trembling so much. Maybe there's an issue with the muscles in her hand, or maybe it's an unfortunate side effect of her inherited ability. Or you never had to go through this to know how tiring it can be. But I'm certain that she'll be rid of this unsightly habit within a week. She will become Evangeline, only better.
Interesting.
This, you see, is a benefit of a proper education. If only I could travel back in time and give poor Evangeline the same opportunities. Oh, you wish you could have tortured her as well, I get it, yeah.
So you mean...
You seem surprised. Why? I adore Evangeline. I'll forever be her loyal audience member and supportive friend, but that doesn't mean that I'm blind to her flaws. Okay, Mr. Flawless Man! She's mad, unstable. She spends half the day unconscious and the other half, God bless, in hysteria, even incontinence. She's a pitiful woman indeed, worthy of little admiration. I'm her loyal audience and friend, but I think she's worthy of little admiration. Sure, man. Sure.
Exactly.
Yes, she's the center of the crowd. Yes, important figures attend the seances. I listen to her piously. And yes, throngs of people cheer and throw flowers at her on stage, some even fainting from the excitement.
I disagree.
But none of this speaks to who she truly is, my dear friend. Fucking venomous pig, he shrugs. The cold soup morphs into a slice of chocolate cake as he sits down at the table. You must be familiar with this sacerdote, I think we called it. Sacerdote. 2 pieces of chocolate cake with a layer of apricot jam in the middle. It's a sweet embodiment of perfection. With a silver fork in one hand, she flips the piece of cake on its side, revealing its moldy corner. Evangeline is just like this cake. Most of her is sweet, her voice a divination, but there's a rot growing that will one day devour her. It's still a little early to throw the cake away. That would be a shame, at least most of it still looks fine. He cuts through the cake with his fork, precisely avoiding the molding edge. We can still enjoy good parts of the cake as long as we're careful about where the dessert fork lands. Ditterstoff did marry her after all. But it's a somewhat troublesome process. The people's appetite for sacerdote will never wane, and as one cake sours, they will look for another. Poor Evangeline simply cannot satisfy their desires any longer. They need something fresh, delicious, sweet. He savors the cake, a smile growing on his face.
Isolde, my child.
I'm rushing a lot, I'm sorry. Isolde is at no confectionery, freshly out of the oven and waiting to be served. This guy is a creep, and I can't begin to tell you how mad I am that he was just stabbed. I know what you're thinking, like, getting stabbed gives a lot of space for you to feel what's happening to you, so he saw her do it multiple times, he felt the pain. But honestly, I would prefer if she put him in a room and tortured him while bringing up all the times she had to be tortured to be this immaculate, this amazing lady. Like, oh, lift your spoon, sir. Oh, you're not doing it right. Why are you shaking? Again, and throw something on his head and tell him to do it again. Or cut him every time he makes a mistake so that he knows how she felt, because I believe that Isolde in general is just so happens to be weaker, like frail person, not necessarily, I don't think she's sick, just some people are weaker than others. For example, one thing that I had noticed about myself as a child, I had very little tolerance to pain, okay? So I would see other girls who were playing, sports at school or running and falling, and they would scrap their knee and be like, oh no, I'm hurt or whatever, but I was crying my eyes out every time I got hurt. So some people are softer, I guess, if you can put it that way. They don't have high tolerance to pain. But yeah, Isolde seems to have a weaker constitution. Is that the way to put it? I think that's how you say it. Like, if she didn't have natural frailness, I guess, from a young age, she would probably be able to deal with this whole training a little better, but still be weakened at the 100th time, because I don't think that any child, whether frail or not, would be able to take this much pressure every single day, okay? So because this dude exactly looks this healthy and not weakened in the least by anything, I would have taken my time to torture this bastard, to feel what it's like being in the state, to make him actually weak enough to see what she went through and how what he did wasn't normal, and it wasn't normal expecting her to be this perfect after so much, abuse. It is abuse. But what can you do? He took a quite easy way out of the stage. Pity. Great pity. Part 3. Blissful Decadence. Isolde quietly closes the door and sits on the side of her bed. She falls back and stares at the ceiling. Her body aches, her hands and feet feel like lead, and her eyes are swollen from fatigue. Her headache worsens at night, so she rarely sleeps well. The cotton pads didn't help. The heels still wrapped my feet. The vocal lessons over in my literature class is cancelled because Mr. Carl was invited to a banquet. Looks like I can rest early today. Wonderful. She turns her head to the side, and her eyes meet another's. The young girl lies beside her with features that resemble her own. Their foreheads press against each other. The girl's eyes are hollow, only filled with golden tears. Her lips open and close as she mutters a question, one that has been asked many times before. No, sister, I won't. Isolde trembles from the cold, just as she did as frightened baby in her cradle. The girl giggles, curling her arms around Isolde's neck and clutching at her like a vine wrapped around a tree. Her little body swells, becoming cold and heavy like a piece of iron. Here she goes again with her usual games. Whenever Isolde is tired and weary, Trista seeks her out to play like this. Please, sister, you're hurting me. Isolde's breathing becomes short and violent. She can feel her insides being squeezed. Tears flood her eyes, her face swollen and wet as she silently weeps. Only in moments like this does she let out her true emotions. Oh. The pressure makes her nauseous. Trista giggles, her laughter lingering in the room. More and more spirits start to gather. They whisper to each other, laughing and teasing Isolde, curiously awaiting her next move. Isolde manages to grab her back of one of her sister's hands with her trembling fingers. Sis, Mama
Mama.
asked for me. I promised her. The girl straddling her waist gives a slow blink. She lets go of Isolde's hands and dissipates into thin air. This always works. They are both, or at least once were, the mother's closest supporters. Isolde climbs out of bed, wiping the tears and specks of vomit from her cheeks with a corner of her bedsheet. She mumbles, Mama.
Mama.
Oh. Her mother looks up from the two rabbits cradled in her arms, one white and the other yellow, and her pale face radiates a smile. Isolde, my sweet girl, come.
Listen, child.
See, I have Apfelstrudel and Bloom here. Oh, and the nightingale your father just brought. I was hoping to take the swan in here too, but it was swimming on the lake, so we couldn't get close to it. This mother's sometimes more of a child than her own daughter. She's cheerful and innocent, simple as a black canvas. She's always a pleasure to spend time with. Isolde closes her eyes, erasing her sister's decayed face and the vomit-stained sheet from her mind. We can meet in the garden, Mama. You don't have to bring them all inside. Nonsense. I'm happy to do this with you.
I think...
You always get dizzy under the sun. How can you attend your lessons if you're unwell? The lounge is much better. We can enjoy a bit of sunshine through the windows and listen to music. Her mother pats the cushion next to her. Isolde sits on it, taking Apfelstrudel, the pale yellow rabbit, into her arms.
Huh?
Hello, little Apfelstrudel. How are you feeling? You're so fluffy and soft, like the cooked apple in a real strudel. She holds the rabbit, stroking its fur, looking into its eyes.
Lovely little ones.
She has the softest fur, and such adorable coloring. Do you remember when your father first brought them home? You were 11, a bit shorter than you are now. It wasn't long after you started your vocal lessons.
Yes, I understand.
Of course, Mama. Apfelstrudel and Bloom are the only rabbits who've joined the family. We've had plenty of birds and ponies before, as well as white rabbits for use in the seances, but none of them even had a name. It wasn't until the doctor recommended a new method of therapy that Father brought these two home, and we named them. At least he took her to a doctor to deal... Oh, goodness. As stupid as he is, I'm glad that perhaps her mother pushed that she was taken to a therapist for what she just experienced.
Of course.
Yes, it was fun. With these adorable little things around, I don't faint as often as I used to. You were so small back then. I can scarcely believe that the little girl is the same person as the 15-year-old young lady sitting before me. And for her to be so beautiful a singer, too. The sun shines through the window, enveloping Evangeline. With a peaceful smile on her face, she continues to stroke the rabbit in her arms.
Mama.
Do you not wish to go back on stage? Singing used to be so important to you. No. She maintains the smile on her face.
No, that's not true.
You're mistaken, my child. I never really loved performing. It was just an ordinary part of my life. Besides, that were making me emotional, which worsened my condition. I shouldn't be performing anymore. It's not good for me. But I'll be fine. As the doctor said, caring for animals brings me peace. Keeping a calm atmosphere is the foremost goal of this treatment. Isolde, my child, we must carry on. Beneath her mother's hopeful gaze, Isolde lowers her head and meekly snuggles up to her.
Certainly.
Yes, Mama.
I would try harder.
We must carry on.
Of course.
Things will be different for you, Isolde. You're luckier than I. You received treatment much earlier in life, and times are better now. There's more than one way to improve your situation. You'll be cured, and you have the talent to sing. Her mother's voice seemed to come from above her head. For no clear reason, Isolde feels as though she's speaking from somewhere even higher.
Keep in mind.
You will become the star of Vienna. You must keep on. Yes, Mama. I'll continue with the treatment. I'll keep on singing. Apfelstrudel has started to nibble on her young master's gloves. Apfelstrudel, are you hungry? How could she be? The maids have already fed them today. Oh, you're confused again, Mama. Marge, the doctor, suggested that you start feeding them. He said it would help you to bond with them. Is that so? Oh, yes, I remember. Isolde puts down the rabbit and cups her mother's face. She gently pushes his hair aside and softly presses her forehead against her mother's. Don't worry, Mama. We all forget things sometimes. Leave it to me. I'll get them something to eat. She gets to her feet and makes her way to the other room, but before she leaves, she stops by the door and looks back. Mama, have the rabbits recovered? I noticed they were a little out of spirits earlier.
My apologies.
If they're still unwell, I'll go get some medicine too. Were they really? Evangeline raises the rabbits in her hands so that their faces are level with hers. Their noses are wet and their eyes are clear. They look as healthy as any rabbit she has seen. A few nameless white rabbits are chasing each other around her feet, each looking as energetic as ever.
That's right.
They seem fine to me. All right, Mama. I'll be back shortly. Out of the lounge and through the hall, past the many doorways, down the stairs and finally to a small room with two maids working inside. The Didashtov house is well known for its staggering size.
Look at this.
Sheets, sheets, and more sheets. I ain't gone a single day without washing these bloody things.
Listen.
When I worked for the Myers, we only had 1 or 2 washing days a week. But you'll pay better here, ain't ya? Quit your complaining and come help, eh?
What's wrong?
My God, there's blood on the sheets again. How on earth is there so much of it? Even for the time of the month, this is a lot. There's no way this is blood from her time of the month. The red-haired maid crinkles up her nose in disgust. There's been blood on the sheets once a week for the last 3 weeks now. Once a week. I'd say it comes from those dead rabbits and birds.
I see.
Lucas threw away another load of dead animals yesterday. I saw birds, ponies, and mostly rabbits, the yellow and white ones.
Which means...
I've lost count of the number of Apfelstrudel and blooms we've had. They got 2 new ones just today. Oh, poor things. What happened to them? They didn't die nearly so often last year. Is there something wrong with the fodder? No, it weren't because of the bloody fodder. It weren't any natural cause of death. As the maid soaks the sheets in the water, she lowers her voice.
I heard that.
Lucas told me that every one of the animals suffered a miserable death. Some vomited blood, others had their heads cracked open. Most strange of all is that all of them had a hole in their neck with a golden key jammed inside.
It might be...
He said Lady Evangeline did it. Oh, come off it. Lady Evangeline loves those animals. She's always carrying those rabbits around in her arms. Well, you didn't see her crush a poor nightingale with her bare hands when she was having an episode. She's ill. So is Lady Isolde. It runs in the family like a curse. The doctor said it was hysteria, something to do with her wandering wombs. Drives them mad and makes them bleed and all. Wandering wombs?
Look at this.
Which explains his bloodstains. Do you think Lady Isolde will one day lose her mind like her mother? Why do you care? She's been awfully kind to me. She helped me settle in. The maid with the short dark hair looks down at the dirty bedsheet in her hands. It is covered in vomit and sweat.
Here is the case.
She's still young, but she's already such a perfect little lady. Gentle, polite, beautiful, kind. She's got so many lessons to attend, bless her. Etiquette, literature, history, painting, music, dance. And on top of all that, she has to go to the seances with her mother twice a month. Poor girl. She slowly folds up the bed sheets as if to save Isolde the embarrassment. She don't faint often, and she ain't having any manic episodes like her mother does now. But she does vomit and feel dizzy at times. Oh, I do hope she don't end up like her mother. Yes, enough of the worrying. It's none of our concern. You're done with the sheets. Come on, then. With the laundry basket stowed under their arms, the maids walk out into the corridor. You know what? I think both her mother and Isolde probably had their first seances at a young age to test if they're capable of doing divination, okay? If they can contact the spirits, etc. But that, just because you have an arcane skill, doesn't mean that it's not dangerous. So I'm guessing that both of them, because they come in constant contact with spirits, they're haunted. So even in Evangeline's case, if she is indeed killing animals during her hysteric episodes, as they say, I'm guessing she does it because something else has possessed her in that moment. I don't... The way they portray everything, it's very interesting because these two actually coexisted at some point in the past. When mental illness wasn't a thing, many people would address certain behaviors of people to possession because they believed in good and bad spirits, but they didn't know shit about psychology. So they would often blame possession, and these people would never have the chance to be helped mentally, you know? Now, after psychology came into view, of course, people stopped thinking in possessions this much. I'm not saying they necessarily stopped believing in possession, because people believe to possessions even to this day. But people started turning this kind of behaviors to psychological reasons and try to understand them through whatever methods they had back then, which weren't the best, as I've said in the main story. So it is interesting to me that right now they've taken these two and connected them, and instead of, blaming the psychology to possessions, we're blaming the possessions to psychology, which was also something else in the past. Look, I'm an atheist, okay? I don't believe in this, but I do believe in negative energy. So I'm not 100% a non-believer of the possibility of possession, because there had been incidents in the past, recorded incidents, of people who actually had very violent responses to some things. And I doubt that was psychological. Like, it doesn't, I don't know, maybe I cannot wrap my mind around a person acting in the way the image of a possessed person is. For example, screaming out of nowhere, speaking in other voices and stuff like that. I can see that happening through psychology. Like if you have multiple personality disorder, maybe you change your voice every time you speak with another character. I think that's possible. But there are some situations and some things that happened in recorded incidents that are yet to be explained. So there's part of me that does believe in possession a little bit. However, I don't think it's easy to happen. I think it's quite rare, unlike mental illness that is more prevalent. So in this situation, based on all that, in this situation, I believe that because the world is so used to psychology being prevalent and nobody focuses too much on things like God or spirits or some sort. It's funny because for divination, they use it. The people going to the seances are oblivious to the dangers of working with spirits. They just want to get the results. They don't care what happens to the caster, to the summoner, or whatnot. They say, oh, they're arcanists. They have the power to summon spirits all the time. It's not dangerous. So there is no way for these people to consider that what Isolde and her mother is facing is possession. They will always turn to psychology and that they're crazy. But if Isolde can see her sister, and her sister is being like that, she has become an evil spirit, then I don't doubt that Evangeline also is haunted by many other spirits that sometimes take over her body, even when she's not on stage, and kill those animals. She has used her power for service to other people for years. She's not just a performer. She doesn't only channel characters on stage, she also channels real people to answer questions to other people that are still in the living world. But anyway, I've blabbered enough. Let's keep going. Yes, now I remember. I left it in this drawer. Ah, there it is. She fumbles in the dark until her fingers come across a familiar shape. She looks at her palm, then into the dimly lit corridor. The maids are long gone by now, but their conversation still lingers in her ears. Father once told me. She shuts her eyes in calm determination. Be graceful, be self-restrained, and kind to others. Be compassionate, especially towards the less privileged. We must be an example for our people.
Oh, yes.
We must be virtuous and dignified as befits our status. Theophil, I didn't know you were home today. She opens her eyes. Her brother, 2 years yet her senior, is standing next to her. I won't be staying long. Mother told me you were here, so I came.
Isolde!
It's been a while. Brought you this. He pulls a little velvet box and a pocket watch from his jacket pocket. The box is from Heinrich. There's a brooch inside for your 15th birthday. And this watch? That's for me. But you already gave me a present on my birthday, Theophil. No, it's not for your birthday. I just want you to have it. Look, it's not just a watch. It has a timer. And here. He presses the little knob on the pocket watch, and with a quiet click, it flips open. See? It's white crystal. It works like an amulet to help you stay calm. And here, see the slot? It can hold enough smelling salts for 20 uses. You need a watch to keep track of the time in all those lessons, and the amulet and smelling salts will help you too. It's perfect. He presses the watch into his sister's hand. There is a beat of silence. He speaks again. I also have news for you. I'm renting this studio. It's amazing how much it's helped me gain inspiration. It also has a space for the young models to stay the night when the weather becomes dreadful. It simply broke my heart to see them walking all the way back home in the rain. So, all is well with me, but I won't be returning home very frequently. I hope you'll continue your treatment along with Mother. Remember, I'm thinking of you all the time. You're my beloved little sister, after all. Did Father agree to this?
Oh, yes.
Of course! You can ask him if you like. He even helped pick the studio. He turns around and waves to their father, a bright, beautiful smile on his face. For a moment, he looks like the herald of spring. I see. Then I'm relieved. I wish only the best for you, Theophil. The spring's favored sun leaves as briskly as the wind. He crosses the lounge, passes through the doors, and goes out into the boundless world. Dieter stands next to his daughter, a hand on her shoulder. He shakes his head. A blundering artist for a son, a wild spirit. Look at him. Who would think that he's almost 17? You're nothing like him, for which I'm very grateful. Spend your days perfecting yourself, while he wastes time chasing after those models and his... What I'm trying to say is that you're a comfort to me, child.
Danke.
Thank you, Father. How generous of you to say such nice things about me. She smiles with an adorable shyness and looks down at the floor, as most young daughters would after making their father proud. But her eyes flicker towards the door. With Theophil gone, it is shut again. Only a thin beam of light shines through the gap. Theophil didn't inherit Mother's musical talents. He doesn't even sing. Mother passed that talent down to me instead of her firstborn son. I suppose it's unfair to him. Under her father's silent gaze, Isolde turns and makes her way to the other end of the house.